talk Notre Dame. To do that, we welcome on Ryan Harris, who joins us. He was a Super Bowl champion with the Denver Broncos, also a Notre Dame alum, analyst, and you can give Ryan a follow on X at Ryan Harris _68. Ryan, really appreciate the time, man. Thanks for joining us. Let's just start with where you were yesterday when you heard the news, where you were watching the playoff, and then your reaction and the first kind of people that you interacted with, whether it was phone call, text, and you and your friends were just trying to digest the news of what the committee decided to do and leaving Notre Dame out.
Well, first, great to be with you, Brad. I want to be you when I grow up. Guys, I was in Guadalajara, Mexico with the Denver Broncos on a flag football delegation to help grow the game. And so during at the end of the championship game in the 12 and unders, I got a text that it's over. And I thought, what the heck does that mean? You get a text, it's over. And then my phone just blew up. Notre Dame's out. And then the matter of whether or not they're going to play in the bowl game came. I mean, this all happened in about 30 minutes. And then you're beginning to see the fallout from the decision, including the press conference tomorrow by Notre Dame's athletic director, Pete Bavacqua. I don't think it's going to be good for the ACC.
Oh, no doubt about it. Ryan, great to see your beautiful face, though I do not appreciate you handing me the L in our fantasy football matchup 2 weeks ago. I'm still bitter about that. But anyway, I digress. Do you think Notre Dame made the right call passing up on appreciable revenue tied to whatever bowl invite they would have received? And do you think this is going to set a precedent for major programs who miss out on the college football playoff in the future? Just say, thank you, but no thank you.
Well, this is the Lane Kiffin rule, right? Take the money, not the risk, right? That's what happens now when you have a head coach who leaves a team that could win a national championship for more money. And then we want to be upset when players don't play in a game. I mean, look, all these players are getting paid $200 to $1.5 million, sometimes more. And I don't think anybody watching or listening right now would tell their child, hey, go risk $500,000 to be the champion of the Pop-Tart Bowl. No offense to the Pop-Tart Bowl, but that's not what you're playing for, especially at Notre Dame. And so, yes, I believe if the College Football Committee does a ridiculous, illogical selection like they did, you're going to see this happen a lot more. And the bigger issue here is the tie between ESPN, the ACC network, and the SEC network. There was too much collusion, guys, so I think there's quite a ripe lawsuit for third-party tortious interference, a breach due to acting in good faith. So there's a lot that Notre Dame has. And I do think you will see teams do this when they are wrongfully kept out of the playoffs.
Yeah, I totally see that. Ryan, the scuttlebutt for the media and fans alike was Notre Dame, it's time to join a conference, you cowards. Did you the school's football independence? Is that all in jeopardy in light of what has happened? Is it possible the Fighting Irish join, say, I don't know, the Big Ten within the next 3 to 5 years? Your thoughts?
No way they join a conference. But look, this is the current era's experience with this, right? How did Notre Dame start out of a conference? Well, it's because something like this happened decades ago, and then Notre Dame still stayed around, still stayed independent. They get over $90 million per year for NBC. They have 8 home games per year. They own 100% of the ticket revenue, 100% of any T-shirts and etc. sold, 100% of the licensing rights if you want to make something that says Notre Dame on it. Look, this is an institution like the Vatican. We're not going to be joining a conference so that everybody else can take the money. And this is what Notre Dame just did. You're asking Notre Dame to do what they just did. They basically joined the ACC, promising to play 5 games a year. What did the ACC do? They just degraded Notre Dame's standing, putting them all across the country. 2 years ago, having them in 4 back-to-back night games. And so now Notre Dame's saying, okay, you guys thought you were smart. Thought you were slick. We're going to control this thing. We're going to show you our power, flex our muscle, and we'll see how the ACC looks in about 5 to 10 years.
We're talking with Ryan Harris here on BetMGM tonight. Super Bowl champion with the Denver Broncos, Notre Dame alum and analyst. And give Ryan a follow on X at Ryan Harris _68. Ryan, I want to go back to something you alluded to earlier with the Notre Dame AD having a press conference tomorrow. And you don't think he's going to shy away from words about the ACC. How do you kind of think that press conference could potentially go tomorrow?
Well, I mean, it depends on how many phone calls Notre Dame has gotten. You don't think the Big 12 would take a 5-game schedule against Notre Dame? And by the way, Brad mentioned it earlier. If you get into that 5-game kind of partial partnership, it's a lot easier to drive to Indiana, Northwestern, Illinois from South Bend than it is to fly to Blacksburg, Virginia, right? So Notre Dame has an opportunity not only with the Big 10 to make more money in those second and third games on NBC, but it has an opportunity to renegotiate. And I guarantee you, everybody, probably including the ACC, is going to try and up the value to get Notre Dame there. When Notre Dame travels, you sell out your stadium. Your players get visibility. Heck, Notre Dame took a player in Malachi Fields that played well against them last year and brought him in the transfer portal. So every team wants to play Notre Dame. Every school wants to host Notre Dame once every couple of years. So you're going to see Notre Dame find its flexibility here in the next 48 hours.
Yeah, no question about it. Ryan, let's pivot to one of your other passion points, and that being in your neck of the woods, the Denver Broncos, a team that has greatly exceeded expectations with just a couple of losses on the season. You get the feeling their final 4-game stretch, however, is a golden opportunity to prove doubters wrong because they face Green Bay, Jacksonville, at Kansas City, and against the LA Chargers, who just scored, by the way, Amari Hampton receiving touchdown up 7-0. What's most critical for this team, in your estimation, to make a deep playoff run?
I think it's beating the Jaguars, and I never thought I'd say that, Brad. I mean, that team, their offensive linemen are high-fiving and having celebrations in the end zone in Jacksonville, right? They got a great offensive coordinator in Shane Waldron. I think he's one of the next head coaches in the NFL. But then you're looking at a team who can put down a team that's going to be in the playoffs, I think, in the Jaguars. But to me, the real meaty game is going to be that game against Kansas City. You can knock out Kansas City, send them home when you don't need to win the game. And if the Broncos are going to prove the doubters wrong, to me, that's the game you have to win. Send your division foe back home and make sure that they have their first January off in 7 years. If the Broncos can do that on the road in Kansas City, they, to me, are the number one team in the AFC.
Ryan, before we let you go, I want to tie the conversation back to Notre Dame and their head coach, Marcus Freeman, who is drawing a lot of interest right now with NFL teams like the Giants, maybe even the Steelers, if they want to move on from Tomlin. Are you buying any of these rumors? Like, do you think there is a chance Marcus could make that leap, or are you comfortable that he's going to be with the Irish next season?
I think everybody wants to be a pro, and say what you want. You can have all the failed, disgraced former college coaches that went to the NFL come back. But what you're talking about is a possibility of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase FaceTiming Marcus Freeman saying, "Hey, coach, come on over." Wow, there was a lot of talk about the Steelers firing Mike Tomlin. Where's that talk for Harbaugh in Baltimore? Maybe it's Lamar Jackson FaceTiming Marcus Freeman saying, "Hey, coach, let's win a championship." I think that's hard to say no to. And yes, you can win, and yes, you can build a legacy at Notre Dame, but all of us want to be professionals, and you want to win at the highest level. So I anticipate that at some point, Marcus Freeman is going to try to go to the NFL. It's a very different game as coaches have less control. I mean, guys, in the NFL, you can scream at your coach. You can cuss out your coach, and you'll likely be around longer than them. Josh McDaniels says hello. So, I mean, you got to be able to understand where you're going, but also understand the human aspect where you want to be a pro. You want to show that you can manage an organization. And yes, it's great to win a national championship. How about that Super Bowl, though? So I think someday you're going to see Marcus Freeman in the NFL.
Ryan, bonus question, last one from me here. Looking at Notre Dame, now that they are not in the college football playoff, two-part question. If they would have gotten in, do you think they would have had a great shot to win? And now that they are not, who would be your pick to host the trophy?
I think they did have a good shot to win, but to me, Ohio State's the favorite here in the college football playoffs. Outside of Jeremiah Love, you better learn the name Jeremiah Smith. He would have been the number one pick last year, would be this year, and we'll have to wait until next year. But if I'm his agent, I'm challenging the NFL's rules and trying to get in there this year. That's a complete team. You got Sayin at quarterback, a good defense. I think they got embarrassed against Indiana. Ohio State's my favorite for Natty with Notre Dame out.
I'm with you, man. Ryan Harris, great stuff. Super Bowl champion with the Denver Broncos, Notre Dame alum and analyst. Give him a follow on X at Ryan Harris _68. Ryan, great stuff, man. Appreciate the time. Talk to you again soon.
Great to be with you guys. And, hey, man, make sure you pick on Brad. Pick on Brad a little more. You're too nice.
Yeah, I am too nice, Ryan. I know.
Love you, Ryan.
I am.
Peace.
Saquon Barkley with a big run for the Eagles. So I like that. And Brad's feeling extra good right now because of Marion
I
Hampton
am.
into the end zone. Brad, well done to you with that anytime touchdown. Did you sprinkle any first-time touchdown with Hampton?
No, I never played the first-time touchdowns because I'm not a greedy bastard like our outstanding executive producer who was absolutely killing that market all season long in Brandon Combs, although he had Dallas Goedert. So womp, womp, didn't work out for him. By the way, Saquon just gambled or rumbled, I should say, for another 10-yard gain. So he's 4 carries for 33 yards. This is the old Saquon. This is Saquon we all have been waiting for to arrive, and he's doing it against a defense and the night, number 6 in rush EPAD. So when the presses start for him, we're going to see if this keeps up. But Amari Hampton, man, he looks springy, he looks spry. He had a really good first touch of the game, went for around 10 yards, and then he scored on a reception as well. So, yeah, we're already off and running, and I already got winner, chicken dinner at plus 185. Sidebar, Ryan Harris is awesome. I love him.
He is.
It's just to pieces. Amazing
He
guy.
is, man. So well spoken. I loved his answers. That is interesting. You know, like he said, the Notre Dame athletic director is going to have a press conference tomorrow. I saw him on a couple different radio, TV hits today, talking about how they don't appreciate the ACC as a league not sticking up for Notre Dame. He really was taken back by that. So how do you think this is all going to work out? Like, Notre Dame's not joining a conference. We all know this, but
No.
do you think there is a chance that they strike up a deal with the Big 12, with the Big 10? Do they move on from the ACC and potentially look at another league, you think?
No, I think the Big Ten makes all the sense in the world geographically, right? I mean, Ryan brought that point up. If they're going to have a relationship and they burn that bridge with the ACC or vice versa, why not play Illinois? Why not play Northwestern? Why not play Michigan State? Why not play Indiana? How about a matchup between Notre Dame and Indiana? I think the Hoosier State would just cease to exist after that moment. It would be an amazing event, to say the least. Maybe play Purdue and trounce them, win by like 45 or 50 points. It just all makes sense. Those are short bus rides. Columbus ain't far. Ann Arbor ain't far. And those are quality opponents that you can face in pretty much every single one of those jurisdictions, with the exception of West Lafayette. So, look, I think that makes the most sense. The Big Ten would certainly welcome it and have one of the biggest brand names and people who have been clamoring for years, for decades. Why does the Notre Dame just make geographic sense and pass a 101 class and sign on the dotted line, enjoy the Big Ten? Well, here is the reason why. They can at least strike up a deal for like a 5-game contract, some what they had previously with the ACC.
Let's say that Notre Dame would have taken the 10 spot, right? So if Miami and Notre Dame both would have gotten in, Miami would have gone to 9, Notre Dame would have gone to 10. If Notre Dame would have been the 10 seed in the current bracket, you think they would have beaten A&M, lost to Ohio State? How would you have kind of seen that playing out if the Irish would have gotten in?
Man, I would have killed to have seen the Ohio State taking on Notre Dame, because, Notre Dame would have trounced Texas A&M. I think they win by probably a couple of scores in that one, minimum 10 points. I would have laid whatever the chalk is all diggity day long. But against the Ohio State, I think they match up pretty well because they're excellent defensively. That was an area they greatly improved in throughout the entire season. We know offensively what Jeremiah Love brings to the table. How about Jeremiah Love battling that front 5, that front 4 of Ohio State? Pro, and guess what? Pro that they had there. I would have paid top dollar to witness that, even that from my couch in my living room with a strong tequila pour. Unfortunately, the football guys aren't going to allow us to witness that. We're going to think about that one in our dreams, but man, again, I would have loved to have seen it.
That would have been some game, and it is a shame because Notre Dame, I think, had one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the country.